Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Hope you had a wonderful weekend. This is New Life Live. I'm your host, Brian Perez. We'll be taking your calls in the studio for the next 2 hours today. What is it that you want to seek counsel about? Purity, shame, sexual integrity, being a better communicator, being a better listener. What? I said being a better listener. Let me just give you the number. Call us anytime. We're going to be here for 2 hours today. Write down the number, plug it into your contacts on your phone, 1-800-229-3000. And answering your questions today, we've got clinical psychologist Dr. Alice Benton. Good day, Alice.
Hello, same to you.
Great to have you here. And look who's back. It's licensed marriage and family therapist Marc Cameron, or is it Sir Marc Cameron?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Yes.
All right. So, Dr. Alice, what's on your mind today to start us off?
Boundaries.
Boundaries. All right.
And one of the most frequent boundary situation that we hear about here at the radio, but also in my own private practice, submissive Christian wives who are trying to love their harsh, verbally abusive husbands well. And many of these husbands are also Christians. And so it's very confusing that it seems as if verbal, harsh mistreatment is okay. You can treat your wife that way. We were just talking with a woman recently on air, and we were describing the boundaries advice we would encourage her to take. And she said, well, that won't work because he won't listen to it. So I want to clarify a misnomer, a misinformation about boundaries. The primary purpose of boundaries, it's really not to first and foremost change the behavior of the person mistreating us, because we don't have that much power over other people. But rather, the primary purpose is to protect the one who's setting the boundaries from the misbehavior. And so it's about taking action steps and expressing needs in a way that clarifies, I don't like it when you speak to me that way, but I can't change you speaking to me that way. I can ask you to change. And then if you won't, this is what I'm going to do to protect my mind and heart, because when you mistreat me, I'm devastated. And so then the next steps in boundaries are to take that into action. And if the verbally abusive person doesn't change, then you step away when they treat you in that way again. And it might just be, I'm just leaving the room. I'm going to go outside and take a walk. I'm going away for a drive for an hour or two. Or if it's even more intense and they have not changed over time, it might have to be, I'm going to go stay with a friend. I'm going to go stay at a hotel. I have to make a big enough space in between you and me so that your mistreatment of me doesn't keep poisoning me. And it's actually how God treats us. This is one of his biggest strategies he uses with us humans. He says, I am not going to use my power and authority to make you change. But I am going to say, you're welcome to enjoy all the benefits and blessings of being in relationship with me. But if you mistreat me by disobeying, disrespecting, not following my laws, then I will allow there to be a space between you and me. You're always welcome to come back if you want to repair, if you want to reconcile and repent. But otherwise, I will allow there to be a space. And so I want this to give hope to our listeners that if you think, but boundaries didn't work, my disrespectful teen didn't change, my angry husband didn't change, the change happens in us when we set boundaries. We become better protected, stronger, and knowing how to step away from that kind of mistreatment.
Yeah, I love that clarification, Allison, because boundaries do work, because it's more about standing up for yourself than it is about standing up against another person. When you look at it that way, and like you're saying, you escalate consequences if things don't change, it works.
So what if you walk away from the room or you go for a drive and the person accuses you of, oh, you're avoiding me now. You never want to talk about these things, when in reality, you're just looking out for your own sanity.
I like to use the therapeutic, I don't have to answer that. I don't have to explain, but I heard what you said. And perhaps at another time, if you can be respectful to me as you express this, I'll be your listener in a comfort circle. But you thought that was disrespectful. But I'm still going to choose to protect myself.
I like that. We can all do that. 1-800-229-3000.
We've been married 33 years. We attended the Intimacy and Marriage Workshop. Even though we've read books, or attended a few other marriage weekends, this was certainly different and a lot more intensive than initially that we thought.
When you come to intimacy in marriage, you're going to be immersed into a 3-day process.
Was not really sure exactly what to expect, but the idea of learning to really understand intimacy was intriguing. We had been in the same patterns of struggle over and over again.
If you've thought, I don't think we can ever change, we're just in this rut and we can't get out, the Intimacy in Marriage workshop can help you get out of the rut.
The Intimacy in Marriage Weekend is July 25th to the 27th in Washington, D.C. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50. 1-800-639-5433.
I would highly recommend it.
To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Impulse buys. That's something we can talk about today on New Life Live. If you got like a shopping addiction or something, I don't know. I recently looked something up. I was looking for someone online and I saw another person with a similar name and that was their thing. And I was just like, wow, shopping addiction. That'd be interesting to talk about on the program. But speaking of shopping, we have a $1 day sale right now on newlife.com. Lots of different resources. That green tote bag is still available, Alice. And we've got books like Trust by Dr. Henry Cloud. It's up there for just $1. The most you'll pay right now is $5 on any of these items, but most of the items that are in there are just $1. Once they're gone, they're gone. So make sure you check that out at newlife.com on the $1 day store. You can't even buy a candy bar for $1 nowadays, but you can get a lot of these great resources for just $1. 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call us today. By the way, did you want to add something?
Finish your thought, and I want to add something about boundaries in a moment.
Oh, okay. I was just going to tell people that if they can't call in at 1-800-229-3000, there's a couple of other ways that they can get their question to us, and that's by email or by leaving us a voicemail. And you can find out those methods when you go to our website, newlife.com/radio. Boundaries.
Just one other encouragement about boundaries. They still are they have the highest likelihood of successfully changing the other person's behavior, even though that's not the primary purpose. But the method of change is through the loss of the relational warmth. Because a wise person will realize, oh, you're walking away and you're staying away from me more. I miss you. I want you back. How do I get you back? And through that process, a person can learn to adjust their harshness. So boundaries still are effective to help other people change. They give the best chance of it happening. It's just not the primary focus and purpose of boundaries.
Yeah, it's more about your growth, and be able to have a no and a stop and be able to tolerate discomfort and displeasure from someone. And sometimes that's what the other person needs. The other person needs space for their growth, and you need that space for your growth. But it's primarily about your own growth boundaries.
As we discussed, too, I think it's more difficult as a Christian because you're trying to be kind to everybody, you're trying to be nice to everybody. So when they might throw up that Christian card and say, oh, well, a real Christian wouldn't say no to me right now, or or they bring something up from your past and they'll say, well, remember when you did this, and all I'm asking is for this in return. There's so many different nuances in the whole thing that you just got to try to, no, I need to do this for myself.
Well, those are all strategies just to kind of shift the focus off of them and back onto you. And you don't have to defend every accusation, like Alice is saying here, that if somebody says something, if they don't get it, if they don't understand, part of their growth is learning to understand, but you can't force them to understand. And so you can simply state your boundary, and if they don't get it, then that's going to be on them to have to figure that out. And then, as Alice is saying, it's that loss of that relationship, that closeness, that should be a motivator for them.
Yep.
Those kind of, I call them combative questions or combative accusations. When a person comes back with blame shifting, or how could you do this? What kind of a Christian wife would walk away from me and leave me? You're being so mean to me. I don't think they're in a frame of mind to be able to really receive explanation. And I don't think they actually want explanation by asking those questions or making those accusations. They just want a change. Just don't walk away from me like that. But allowing it without explanation, the pain of the loss is more effective to get them to see the error of their ways than it is explaining why you left, at least at that time, at that moment.
All right, so we can talk about boundaries or anything else that's on your mind today. Any kind of struggle, any kind of dilemma that you're going through, 1-800-229-3000 is our number. And here's one of those questions that was sent in online. We're going to read that. This one is from Larry, and it says, today is Terry McIntosh's 26th anniversary as an employee at New Life. Please give him a shout out on the radio. I just did.
Wow.
Terry,
Congratulations.
he's our sound engineer. Great job he does in there. 26 years. That's a long time. Congrats, man. Congratulations. You don't have a mic in there where you can... Okay, never mind.
He's loyal. He's funny. He's
Yes,
good at what he does. And he
is.
wears a
He
fancy
is.
Hawaiian shirt every single day.
And
Yes,
if you don't
indeed.
know, Terry is the voice of the ads for New Life.
Yes. So he does have a mic. He just
Yes.
doesn't use it here. Yes. Very cool. So congrats, Terry. I've known Terry for a long time. So to connect with him here 6 months ago was a good thing. So anyway. So here's a real question now. This is from Suzanne, who writes, how do I move forward from my divorce and deal with the hurt and financial betrayal? Here's the backstory. In June 2024, my husband left for a 10-day work conference. Just prior to this, I had serious concerns about some weighty financial issues that he might have been hiding. In a deep dive to explore his home office, I found staggering amounts of mail, most of it unopened. Further research led to the knowledge that he had drained our retirement accounts by 95% or more, had not been paying our household bills. He had taken out multiple lines of credit in my name and run up the balances, all without my knowledge or approval. I have not seen or heard from my husband since. My divorce was final in October. The legal and financial items continue to unravel, with 2 separate court dates coming up soon. I'm now living in my marital home. I'm back at church. I continue to work remotely. I have 5 adult children. 3 are his, 2 are mine from a previous marriage. The children, their spouses, and 5 grandchildren. All of them have helped me in more ways than I can count, and I am forever grateful. But Suzanne wants to know, how do I move forward from all this? I mean, that is a lot. What do you guys think, Mark?
Yeah, that's betrayal right there. And sometimes people might not see that way just because it's not on a physical, sexual level, but that's betrayal. To be able to do, betrayal is something happening to someone behind their back, and that very much happened here with Suzanne. What a difficult situation to have to move forward with, because that has lasting effects, I'm sure, on her credit, and her ability to finance things going forward. And I mean, it's quite an open-ended question with how do I move forward. I think the most significant thing I think someone can do when we go through these big things in life is to be able to learn, how do I process this? So getting into therapy, and oftentimes the starting point is the crisis that gets us into therapy. But what we often start to see is all of the triggers that we have and the reactive behaviors, they're rooted in our past, and it's the thing in the present that kind of is the great exposer. So that's what I would say to you here, Suzanne, is get into therapy, process through this present situation that has just happened with you. As we talk things out, as we build story, we integrate the different parts of our brain, we put emotions to language, and that helps us to be able to make sense of it. But then also be open to exploring what happened. Why did you get fooled and betrayed in such a way? What, not that it's your fault that this happened, but also it's good to learn from situations so that these things don't happen to you again. So being able to look at, did I turn a blind eye to certain things where was I not as involved as I should have been?
Alice?
Oh, Suzanne, my blood is boiling hearing your story and what your husband did, and then what that does to your future, to have all of your retirement practically taken from you. I hope that you will purposefully get angry at your husband, at God, and at yourself. And that might sound like a strange combination, but surely you have thought and felt, why did God let me go through this and not reveal it to me sooner when he could have? And it is very biblically allowed and permitted to get angry with God. as long as, and especially as we hold on to our faith. And David in the Psalms gives the best examples of this. How could you have left me? How could you give my enemy power over me? But I still believe in you, God. And so that process of allowing those harsh emotions to come out, hopefully in a group with safe peers or with a therapist, with a clinician, I want you to also tap into Christian help. This is exactly the time when the body of Christ should be coming around you and supporting you. And it sounds like your children and grandchildren are. And even if you need financial help, letting your church know what your needs are, allow them to help you. That's a difficult thing to do. And then I want you to become empowered. Whatever your financial situation is, relearning and refreshing your ability to stay on top of and manage your finances, and to possibly seek different work if you need to make up for the loss of what your ex-husband has stolen from you. Actually, there's one last thing. When I have worked with couples who've been through the worst of betrayal, I ask them to do something almost impossible, and it is to pray for their ex-spouse. Because by praying for our number one enemy who's done the worst things to us, it actually frees us from the power that they hold over us in our mind and in our heart. It's God's application to what we cannot control, but it changes something inside of you and it frees you.
Suzanne, thank you for sending in your question through the newlife.com page. It's newlife.com/radio. You can send us an email, or you can leave us a voicemail, or you can call us when we're here doing the program. 1-800-229-3000 is the number, and we're going to be here for 2 hours today. Betrayal, of course, has been in the news a lot in the past few days because of that incident that happened at the end of last week at a concert, and this couple was up in the bleachers and the kiss cam came on, and as it turns out, I don't even know how they discovered who this guy was, but it turns out that, you know, he's the CEO of this multi-billion-dollar company, and now he's married, she's married, so they were having this affair apparently, and don't know all the details about it yet, but he's losing everything. He's lost his job and everything, and yeah, so what do you guys want to talk about that? Because that's it's right up our alley. Because when you think about it, these four people, the two couples, I mean, like the main guy, the CEO, the one everybody's looking at, I mean, he probably needs to attend our Every Man's Battle intensive when you think about it. And the betrayed woman, we have the Restore Healing After Betrayal intensive, and then there's the intimacy in marriage, and so much that we offer here at New Life. But what are your takes when you saw all this unfold?
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very unfortunate. I mean, who I feel sorry for is I feel sorry for the wives and the husbands and the kids of those two, because now they're completely exposed in the media here. Now, affairs are a fantasy. It's not real life. It's an escape. And as as we learn from this, that fantasy can end in a split second, and then all the real life consequences come flooding in that moment. And so, I think it's a good lesson for people to learn that these things, you can be exposed very, very quickly, very, very easily.
Yeah.
And honestly, God has already seen on a Jumbotron all of our sins, all of my sins. And so are we living our lives in such a way that if we were caught on camera, would be proud of what was shown on that screen? And so I think it's also a call to action and self-evaluation. What am I engaged in that if everybody found out, I would wish I had done the work to have changed before the camera turned on to me?
Yeah, and I think it's almost the public exposure is almost more devastating than to the whole family and everybody who knows them than the affair itself.
So if anyone listening is doing anything like this right now, or they know somebody, they've been a victim of, they've been betrayed in an adulterous relationship. The thing about this item in the news, everybody saw it. It's a public exposure. Most of these things happen in the dark and secret, and nobody ever finds out. It's almost like people are thinking, well, maybe God's okay with this because it's been a few years now and nobody knows anything.
Yeah, nothing bad's happening to me yet. So.
Yeah. What then?
Well, that's, I think, why we hope our show will prick the consciences of our listeners, and that we ourselves would stay at that same standard, because I have not yet been exposed. Nobody knows unless I tell them what my private sins are. And many of you listeners, most of you, you're in that same position. And so now is the time to get the help to change those things that you hope don't come to the light in this sort of public, awful way. The time to change is now.
Yeah, so always better to be proactive than reactive. The consequence is going to come. I mean, when an affair is revealed, it's devastating, but it's much better for you to confess it and bring it forward, and you get to be able to limit some of that damage.
Yeah.
We actually see research that when an affair is disclosed rather than discovered, when the perpetrator confesses it, there's a much higher likelihood of the success of healing of the marriage, because the spouse feels like trust has already begun to be rebuilt in that step, versus discovery. Trust is destroyed even further.
All right, if you want to talk about this or anything else, we are here for you in the studio. We're going to be here for 2 hours, so give us a call at 1-800-229-3000. Lavelle, you will be coming up next. Can't wait to speak with you and to everyone else who calls in today to New Life Live with Dr. Alice Benton and Marc Cameron. We'll be back.
I was stuck. I was so stuck. 27 years married. My husband addicted to pornography for the majority of our marriage. I was very isolated and didn't really know which way to turn.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Washington, D.C. November 7th to the 9th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
You guys helped me figure out what was going on.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
You guys came along into my life in 2022. That was a really, really difficult year of my life.
You can help New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people by joining Club New Life today.
I began to really process a lot of things that I've needed to for a long time, and y'all were a very big part of that.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
I came out of it having never experienced anything like that, and y'all were there.
Join today and help continue the message of hope to a troubled world.
I knew I had to keep going, and I joined Club New Life, and y'all have been the resource that has now been a light for my wife and I.
Go to newlife.com/CNL, and together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places.
Keep doing what you do because it makes a difference.
newlife.com/CNL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
We have 3 new online courses beginning in September. Each one is a 12-week journey led by licensed Christian counselors and certified coaches. These life-transforming groups are designed to help you overcome challenges, experience personal growth, and step into lasting freedom. The courses are Healing is a Choice, Lose It for Life, and Take Your Life Back. You'll connect with a compassionate online community of people who are all looking for the same thing: healing, wholeness, and hope. And these are small online groups too, not some big auditorium setting. Picture a room about this size with 4 to 9 people in it, which might give you claustrophobia, so never mind. Don't think about it. Forget I said anything. Get all the details. It's online at newlife.com under Get Help. Here is Lavelle, who is calling in to get help today. He's got an interesting question, listening in San Bernardino on KKLA. Welcome, Lavelle, to New Life Live.
How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for calling in today.
Yes. I'm surprised that I got through.
You did.
We're glad you did.
Yes.
So
I'm glad you're calling in. Yes, please do.
So I read the Bible. I read the Bible, and I've read it, and I noticed that most Christians, they say that it's Adam's fault Eve ate the fruit, but God never blames Adam for Eve eating the fruit. He only blames Adam for listening to her and him eating the fruit. But there's a stigma that, well, he should have stopped her, or he should have slapped it out of her hand, But God never says that. He said, because you listened to her and you did what I told you not to do. And I think it gives a bad light to just behavior in general when we're blaming Adam for something. Why would God punish her if it was truly his fault? Because it wasn't his fault. It was his fault he ate, but it wasn't his fault she ate.
Okay.
And it was his fault that humanity fell into sin, but it wasn't his fault she fell into sin. But yet, most preachers that I hear, even my own pastor, they preach, well, he was the man and God gave him the instruction, but God never says that.
All right, Mark, what do you think?
Well, it sounds like you've been thinking about this question for a while, 𝒊𝒊. And it's an interesting question. And so why is this important for you in your life right now? What's going on with you, or what sparked this thought?
Well, you know what? Me and my wife, this is my second marriage, and we've been married for 2 years now, and we have fought in every way imaginable. Matter of fact, we just had a bad fight last night. And it's a stigma because, you know, there are no women angels, but yet most people think angels are women. But biblically speaking, all angels are men. And you think about, you know, they say that Mary is equal to Jesus in the Catholic Church. And a lot of times, you know, men get a bad rap, not justifying any adultery, any bad behavior in any way. But men get a bad rap because it's already been programmed that women are angelic, women are equal to God, and it's Adam's fault Eve ate the fruit. So it's been systematically programmed that women are flawless and men are just, you know, not doing what they're supposed to do, but that's not the truth.
So help us make the link to where you just started there with you and your wife having conflict. Are you feeling like the pressure is being put on you to be the person to acquiesce or fix things, or are you feeling like you're the most wrong party but you're being blamed? Help make the link for us here with your life.
So the link for me is I see, I know myself. I'm a genuine, caring, loving person, but in this relationship, none of that has shown. None of that has really been highlighted. And my wife has a master's degree in psychology and human development, but she's been in 2 abusive relationships in college, and she's very controlling, very demanding, very manipulative. And it doesn't matter what I do to try to bring peace or to solve or to resolve an issue, she'll find another way to make a problem. And I think sometimes because psychologically it has been embedded into humanity that everything, you know, that women do is right and everything that men do is wrong. And I'm just saying, like, hey, you know, there are no women angels. According to Michael, Gabriel, Lucifer, Apollyon, the Nephilim, when the fallen angels had sex with the human women, but yet everybody keeps saying that they're women angels in this picture, but they're not.
𝒊𝒊, you really need women in your life to start taking responsibility for the ways they've hurt you, and I don't think you've experienced that very often. Is that right?
I haven't. You're right. I haven't.
And does that even hold true before this current wife, your mom, your first wife?
Oh, yeah. No, yeah. My mom, my first wife. I was raised by my father. I was raised by a single father.
𝒊𝒊.
I'm an ex-gang member, and the Lord has delivered me from that. I gang banged from 9 to 19 years old, and God set me free because my dad turned me into juvenile hall 3 times. So I learned a level of maturity that most kids won't learn because most parents won't turn them in. My daddy turned me in 3 different times.
Wow.
And I think about Hebrews, the Bible says Jesus learned obedience through the things that he suffered. Well, I learned the type of obedience from my daddy not putting up with my disrespect.
It's been a hard life for you, and you have not had gentle, humble women around you who are willing to apologize when they have hurt you. We have some strategies that we can share with you because you're in a real tough position, and I think you're being punished by your wife for what the 2 abusive men did to her, and we can help you with that.
Thank you for calling in today, 𝒊𝒊. Stay through the break and we'll continue our conversation when we come back. And we want to talk to the rest of you as well. I see Louise and Alan holding and other lines coming in. So grab an open line while there's still time. We're going to be here for 2 hours today and would love to talk to you about whatever it is that you're going through, whether it's your marital situation or something with your kids or something at work. Could be something that happened a long time ago. Maybe it's even a fear of the future. Give us a call, 1-800-229-3000. We'll talk to you soon.
What a New Life course is it's around a topic led by a professional, licensed counselor coach, with a small group of 8 or 9 people on a weekly Zoom call. You're going to go through the information, but also connect as a group. Those group processes make all the difference in the world. And so we have created New Life courses so that you can experience that on a weekly basis. Every week you're meeting on Zoom with that therapist. You're going over the concepts as well as connecting as a group. It is so powerful. And it's accessible. Wherever you are, you're going to be able to join us. So you can sign up right away. With 8 or 9 slots open, they're going to go quick. And so you want to call today and get registered.
Begin your transformation in September with a New Life course. Lose it for life, take your life back, or healing is a choice. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found life recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And if you want to talk to Dr. Alice Benton and Marc Cameron, 1-800-229-3000 is the number to call. Right now we're speaking with Lavelle in San Bernardino, who listens to us on KKLA. Dr. Alice, you were speaking to Lavelle last.
Lavelle, I picture you and your wife with gaping soul wounds. And the way you each feel and express the pain of your very legitimate wounds, I think ends up causing ruptures and arguments between the two of you because it's hard to understand why this is going on. Why do these arguments keep taking place? And I want to give you some good news, Lavelle, that God allows and designed retroactive healing to be able to take place. And he will let a different person stand in the place of our perpetrators, and that substitute can provide healing. I think Jesus was the substitute for all of us, and he even lets us humans do that for each other. And so what I hope for you and your wife is, one, a spiritually healing experience for you where a woman stands in the place of your mom and your first wife and your second wife to say, "Oh, son, boy, I really let you down. I abandoned you. I wasn't there when you needed me to be. You probably would have avoided a lot of the gangbanging and the hurt and the time in jail if I had been there for you like I was supposed to be. Son, I'm so sorry. I want to make it up to you. I'm so sorry I did that to you. You did not deserve it." And your wife also needs that retroactive healing because those two abusive men, I bet, didn't do anything to repair the damage that they had done to her. And so a really unjust opportunity you have, Lavelle, could be to gain the strength through therapy to stand in the place of those two abusive men to say, "Sweetheart, you have been hurt and abused, and I will be your listener to all the damage men have done to you. I'm not going to defend myself. I'm not going to justify that it wasn't me. I didn't do that to you. I'm just going to be your listener, as if I'm symbolic of all the men that have hurt you, because that's how our soul gets healing."
Mark?
Yeah, what happened with your mom, Lavelle? You said you grew up with your dad.
Well, my mom, her and my stepdad ran a sex business for about 3 years.
Oof.
So she wasn't really, my mother wasn't a strong woman. She had 3 siblings who were much stronger than her. She didn't have a high school diploma, and neither did my grandmother. So my mother was dependent on everybody for a whole lot of stuff. And she would let people discipline us, my aunties, friends. And I really didn't grow up with my mom. And I asked her one day, I asked her when I was an adult, I said, hey, how come it seems like I wasn't really close to you like, your other children? And she says, well, ever since you was a baby, it always seems like you didn't need me. And she meant the statement, but she did her best. She tried, but she was out of her league when it came down to the people that she was surrounded with through her husband. They both passed away. My mom and my stepdad passed away, but they used to throw lingerie parties in our little apartment. And me and my older brother, we used to peek out the door. So she wasn't really in tune to what the children had to suffer and experience, especially when we lived in gang areas. So the first time I went to juvenile hall, my stepdad kicked me out. And I lived with my biological dad from 15 to 17. But between that 15 and 17, he turned me in when the police wanted to let me go. So I didn't grow up with a mother figure. At least not like that.
Yeah.
And
So it sounds like you've made a lot of sense of your childhood so far. That's really good. And so it's not that we're not trying to purposely answer your question, but we're trying to look behind what's underneath that question. And I think, you're revealing enough here to us that, your life shifted when you were forced to take personal responsibility. And then you also have a wound where women have not taken responsibility in your life. And while your mom probably did the best that she could with what she knew how, doing the best is not the same, doesn't mean that people still don't get damaged out of it. And so it's less about blaming and it's more about explaining. And I think when two people get married, it's really a collision of two histories. You have all these past historical triggers and wounds, and your current wife right now, she's coming to the marriage with her own historical wounds. And as Alice is saying, you have this opportunity to be a healer for one another, but it's going to start by being able to depersonalize some of what the attacks and what the blame is coming from the other person, and to be able to, and truly secure people who become strong. They're able to be able to put that to the side. They realize they don't have to respond to every complaint or criticism. I think what could be a good resource for you is How We Love, which is a book written by Mylan and Kay Yerkovich, and it talks about how our childhood histories have shaped us to have a certain bonding style. And when two people get married, two different bonding styles come together, and it creates a predictable core pattern. And I think learning to understand that probably will help you. You've also already made some good progress, I think, in making sense of what happened to you. But I think continuing to do that, especially with someone to walk you through it, a therapist, would be really helpful.
And I just want to praise, Lavelle, your intense study of the Bible. Because when we can relate to a figure in the Bible, it means we have an unresolved history or an injury within us that their story highlights. And so I think God led you to that particular detail of the story to show you, my son, there's healing to take place here for you that I want. So I praise that you read the Bible so studiously, and we're so grateful that you called us.
It is amazing, too, that even when people call our program to ask questions about the Bible, or why does God do this, why doesn't he do that, that there's a lot of underlying things in that, in the sense that we see God as the God of justice, but yet we see things in this life that are, going crazy, and it's like, well, when is God going to put a stop to this? When is, in Lavelle's case, why does Adam get the blame when it was Eve who did it? So there's usually something lying underneath, which is why we love talking about those things as well.
And his word, the Bible, it truly is alive. And if we'll tap into it like Lavelle is doing, God will speak to us very personally through the pages of the Bible.
Yep. Okay, so stay on the phone, Lavelle. Thank you for calling in today. We're going to send you a copy of How We Love, which is right here on my stack of books, but it's way at the bottom, so otherwise I would show it to the camera. But anyway, you can also find that available for purchase on the newlife.com store. Here is Louise, who's calling us from Dallas, Texas, listening on KWRD. Hi, Louise. Thanks for calling 1-800-229-3000.
Thank you so much for taking my call. Well, My situation is I'm trying so hard to understand my husband. We're an older couple in our 70s, and he's in his early 80s. But anyway, and we've only been married about 7 years. And I didn't find out until after we were married that he doesn't want to. It seems like he doesn't want to have a close, intimate relationship with anyone, not me or anyone else. And I don't mean just physical intimacy. I mean any type of a relation. Mm-hmm. Like, for example, he pastored a church for 20 plus years. So quite natural, that's one of the reasons why I thought he would be a good partner for me, a good husband, because, my faith is very important to me. So, but anyway, after we got married, I realized that I found out that he doesn't even want to have devotion with me, and he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't, the only time he's around people is when he goes to church. Now, he doesn't pastor anymore. He goes to, he goes to his son's church. Mm-hmm. And, but he doesn't, the only people that he will talk to is he has brothers that he'll talk to over the phone. But he doesn't want to have a close relationship with anyone.
Louise, this must have been shocking for you, and then so painful and mysterious that he is this closed off to the world when he functioned well probably as a pastor for all those years. Louise, would you tell us what's been one of your strongest attempts to bring his attention to this distance between the two of you and to ask for change? How did he respond when you tried to point this out?
Well, I'm trying to remember how he responded. He just, mainly he acts as if that it's not a big deal. It's not important. He being the way he is, not wanting to have a close friends or any interaction with anyone. And
did you notice this while you two were dating or courting?
No, I really didn't. I didn't realize it, because as far as, him not wanting to have devotion with me, prayer and, Bible study or anything, he did that a little bit. I kind of sensed he did this a little bit before we got married.
All right. We've got to take a break. We will continue our conversation with Louise when we come back here on New Life Live. And we're going to be in the studio for the rest of this hour and next hour as well. So call in. We would love to talk to you at 1-800-229-3000. If you're watching us online, thanks for watching, but call in. We'd love to talk to you too.
Do you need help for life's hard situations?
My husband recently said he wanted a divorce.
I'm confused on what I should do.
I have an eating disorder.
New Life Live answers your questions on relationships, grief, addiction, trauma, anxiety, and much more, all from a biblical perspective with our panel of professional counselors and psychologists.
I learn a lot from your program.
You help so many people.
I appreciate your ministry.
Whether you listen or watch, there are so many ways to connect with us to ask our panel of counselors a question. Call us Monday through Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific at 1-800-229-3000 to ask your question on New Life Live. Or go to newlife.com/radio for other ways to get your question answered.
I'm trying to find help.
I just want to know how to set boundaries.
If it's a sin, what am I supposed to do?
Need a therapist or a coach, a resource, or an intensive? Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His
his.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
And let's go back to Louise in Dallas, Texas, listening on KWRD. You still there with us, Louise?
Yes, I am.
All right. Thanks for holding through the break. Oh, go ahead.
And I think you all were asking me how did he respond when I mentioned to him about he not wanting to be not wanting to do Bible study with me or not having friends that he talked with or whatever. He just acts like it's not a big deal. That's just the way he is, and it's just not important for him to have close relationships or I don't know. I can't remember exactly how he responded. As far as not wanting to have devotion with me.
And it just doesn't seem to bother him. He seems fine with it, but it's a problem for you. Do you know, is there any significant pain in his life where people hurt him or let him down, because of which he might withdraw from people?
Well, he told me his first wife cheated on him an awful lot, and he put up with it for quite some time. And that's the only thing that I can think of.
It is helpful to know that he was hurt in one of his most intimate relationships, first wife, I think you said. And so I would guess that he's withdrawn out of protection, self-protection. And even though he loves you, he must be afraid of loving you too much or letting his guard down too much, because what if you hurt him just like she did? Even though you don't show any signs of that, but his history taught him if you let people in close, they're going to hurt you in the worst possible ways. So one of my suggestions would be to let him know you wonder if he is keeping himself safe by not being in touch with people, and that you want to know, will you tell me about the fear you might have of getting close to me or getting close to other people? I'd even gently potentially bring up his ex-wife. I know she hurt you. I wonder if you're afraid of getting hurt with me that way. But if you do this, Luis, I would have you not tell him how wrong he is. I never did anything. Why would you think of me that way? Don't defend your innocence. Draw out his hurt by being just a gentle, non-defensive listener.
And not just that first wife, but if he pastored a church for 25 years, I'm sure he experienced betrayal and rejection and who knows what else from some of the people that were attending the church.
Yeah. I wonder if it started even earlier than that, Louise. I mean, what you're really explaining is somebody who has an avoidant attachment style. And, I was talking about attachment to our last caller here, Lavelle. We all have a bonding style. We all have an attachment style. And somebody who's avoidant, they become hyper independent. And it's usually because in childhood, it was very performance based from their parents, or they didn't have anyone, as Alice is saying, to rely upon. So they learn to rely only upon themselves. And when people become avoidantly attached in adulthood, they don't have this need for deep connections, and they actually feel fine how they are. But it comes from a wound because they've not been able to rely on other people. So I wonder, even if you do what Alice is saying, which I think is great advice, and say, I wonder if you feel scared. People who are avoidantly attached generally are not aware of their emotions, so he may even say, no, I feel fine. I feel fine the way that I am. But we have a really great intensive that is actually this Friday. It's called Intimacy in Marriage. And during that intensive, we help the participants understand how their childhoods have affected them and how that's created an attachment style for them. And we show them how to have conversations to learn how to engage and bond in a more intimate way. And it's based on the book, How We Love.
Luis, I'm going to say something that will sound odd. I want you to make it a problem for him. not in any kind of vengeful way, but he doesn't have a problem with this, but you do. And your marriage will be hurt and could even deteriorate over time if he stays so withdrawn from you. And so in order to make it a problem for him, you just gently, continuously bring it up that I need more. I need a more intimate marriage, and I'm going to take steps to try to enhance the connection that we have. I want us both to learn to connect better, because sometimes I don't know what to do with you being fine with being so quiet. So would you come into counseling with me so we can both learn to do this better? And if he won't because he's fine, then you go into counseling anyhow to say, I want to figure out then what to do in a marriage where I'm lonely. I hope you care that I'm lonely. I hope you care enough to come with me. But I'm not just going to sit in this loneliness and not do anything about it.
Yeah, I think you have a legitimate need of wanting to have an emotional connection. And you know, if he's refusing to give you that need, he's abandoning you emotionally. And so people oftentimes, when they feel fine, they don't see they have a problem. Really the point of change occurs when the pain of staying the same exceeds the pain of changing.
Louise, thank you for calling us today on New Life Live. We're going to send you a copy of the book, How We Love, just for calling in today. This is also available for purchase on the newlife.com store. And yeah, the Intimacy and Marriage Weekend Intensive begins this Friday in Washington, D.C. Louise, we really encourage you and your husband to attend this intensive. It's just a few days away, but you guys deserve some time off anyway. I can just feel it. So head on out to Washington, D.C. and go to this Intimacy and Marriage Intensive. And when you financially support New Life, you're helping people who are hurting, like Sarah. She wrote to us and said, I lay in bed, hiding under the covers and sobbing. But then when I found New Life, I binged your shows. Then I made a bold move and contacted one of your counselors. Ooh. Now I can breathe again and share you with everyone I encounter. Thank you for helping Sarah and people like her at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE. You can also text NLM to 28950. One more call this hour. Here is Alan in Atlanta, Georgia. First-time caller. Thanks for calling in today. Or first-time listener, too. How can we help you?
I have a son that has been appointed as a youth pastor. And I told him a lot of people are appointed, but not a lot of people are anointed. So I'm wanting to find out how he can become anointed and, what it means to be anointed. And then he has a relationship that the whole family loves this girl. She jumped up and ran to Alabama and Detroit, and all kinds of things happened. But now she sort of got herself together and want to come back, and he's forgiven her and all that. So maybe that. And I'm hoping that you guys can allow me to have that How We Love book so I can give that to him.
Yeah, we could send that to you. We don't have a lot of time here. I think what I would say just quickly for you is that growth is a process, and it takes place over time. It takes place over our entire lifetime. And if you look through the Bible, you'll see that God rarely calls the equipped. He more equips the called. And so many people who God called, they said, not me, they even ran away at times. But God said, no, if you follow me, if you follow my leading, I will equip you. And that's where a lot of the growth occurs, is through that faith step.
And if we dedicate ourselves in every aspect of our life to God, giving him permission, change, adjust, delete any part of my life that is not part of your will, I think that's how we eventually find our anointing. And anything can be anointed by God because it's just finding God's purpose for me in this season of my life, whether it's as a youth pastor, as a mailman working at the grocery store. If we invite God in to say, do with me here whatever you will, then his Holy Spirit will work through us.
Alan, we're going to send you a copy of How We Love. It's easier when you guys call in and say what book you want, and then we know what to send you. If it's appropriate, of course. And in this case, we definitely think we'll send you this book. You can read it and then pass it on to your family member. Thank you for calling in today to New Life Live. If you've got questions for us, we're going to be in the studio for another hour. Questions about adoption, or maybe, a nursing home situation. You're thinking if it's time for you to put a loved one in, or you you don't want to go in, give us a call. We'd love to talk about all this and more here on New Life Live. God bless you guys. Thanks for watching and listening.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.